Joining us here is Will Upchurch, and that I would definitely agree with Tim on that because Billy's hitting you from all different directions and they're just piercing shots, and so he's got just a blistering hard left wall under. He's got a very nice deceptive cross and kind of a new cut shot that's really been complementing it. So yeah, just all over everywhere from you and on you, and that's why he's in the finals. So again, joining us here is two-time world champion Will Upchurch, and I'd like to hear some of your thoughts and possible predictions on this match.
Yeah. I still think Billy's the favorite to win this tournament because he's in better practice for longer than Ehab. Ehab's in great practice and he's playing really sharp. Billy lost in an upset match against Tim yesterday. Otherwise, he would have been playing Ehab for the position that Ehab's in now. And so I'm going to be interested to see how Ehab can handle Billy's attack that you guys were talking about. What's the match history between these two, especially the recent match history?
I'm trying to think here. They had a challenge match back in December. Billy came in. He had been working really hard, lost a lot of weight, and defeated Ehab 3-1. Beyond that, I think they were pretty much 50-50 prior to that over about the last 5 or 6 years in their matches, just kind of back and forth. For a while there in the in the early part of the decade, Ehab was definitely getting the best of Billy, and then Billy finally defeated him. I think it was in the year 2005. That was the year that Billy took on Danny in the finals, and Ehab was one of the people that he passed through there. So just definitely back and forth, and looks like it still remains that way today, but they did have that challenge match with Billy winning last.
Ehab has a very detailed analysis of Ehab's game. It should be interesting to see how he executes this. I'm not sure what types of shots he feels he's going to score with, but he has definitely talked about a defensive strategy which is analyzed to a very great degree. Billy watches a lot of video, and for any new players out there, if you want to get better at this or any other sport, video is such a great way to do that. You need to watch yourself, you need to make notes on the things that you did right and the things that didn't work out, and continue to do that for each match that you play.
Yeah, what do you think is the relative confidence level of these two players? I mean, obviously they've beaten all of the other top players they've played against today. When I watched video of Billy in Vegas, he was just so cool and calm the entire time, but he seemed a little nervous this tournament in a couple of his matches. Do you think he's going to have some nerves here in the finals?
Actually, I don't. I think that Billy, we talked about this earlier in the broadcast today, and Don James was asked, what would he say is the weakness in Billy's game, if any, at this moment? And what he said, I think I agree with, is overconfidence. It's almost as if he just doesn't believe there's any chance that the other person can beat him, and that can be dangerous. Certainly he has every right to be he has every right to be confident because he's, in my opinion, by far the best player in the sport right now. It's not even close. There's a huge gap between 1 and 2. But he needs to have a healthy respect for the capabilities, because when you're in the middle of a match, it's not just how many practice sessions you had. You've got to perform under serious pressure.
Okay, well, they're about to get underway here. So you're going to think Billy's going to win it here in 2 straight sets?
If I was a betting man, I would bet that Billy wins the tournament, even though he's down a set.
I agree with that. And we've got Billy Stubbs is near the camera. Ehab Shoukry is in the far position.
And once again in air hockey, we play to 7 points. The first to get 7 points wins the game. We're playing 4 out of 7 games for a set. In this instance, Billy Stubbs is coming from the loser's bracket, which means he needs to win 2 sets to win the tournament.
Both players shooting hard left wall unders on each other to open up the match.
Yeah, sort of feeling each other out, seeing what's going to work. There's a right wall over that I think it might have gone under.
And you have counters. Both of these guys, of all the players in the tournament, they're both hitting so hard and so accurate. And we're seeing that right now. We're not seeing bad defenses. We're just seeing offenses that are basically unstoppable at this moment.
Yeah. So that was off the table, which means it's going to be Billy's puck. In air hockey, if a puck flies off the table, you want to look at who was the last person to make an offensive strike on the puck. Whoever that was loses possession. It goes to his opponent. And
it's amazing that Billy's doing this. I actually give Ehab credit for having a little better of a defense than Billy right now. It's just that Billy's offense is so great that I think this is why I'm predicting Billy to win, because for Ehab to win, he's going to have to not give up possessions at all to Billy.
Well, we have a 1-0 lead with Billy Stubbs taking that game pretty commandingly towards the end. It started out both players, back and forth, and then Billy took over. So here we are at game number 2, Ehab's puck.
Interesting story. Ehab had a severe problem with his arm, and last year had surgery for it, and has come back after surgery like it didn't even affect him.
Yeah, he healed pretty quickly. I remember getting a phone call from him shortly after his surgery, a few weeks afterwards, and said he was going to take a break, but he was starting to feel okay, and he thought he would be able to play by the World Championships, which initially he did not think he would be able to after the surgery. So he healed pretty quickly and was looking sharp.
And again with Billy Stubbs, Billy is is on the far side of the screen with the bald head, and it's like every time he gets the point, he just decides which of my 12 shots am I going to use to score this time.
And this is what I was talking about. Ehab was up 2-1, and then for some reason he chose to try a forehand shot and then a really slow bank, and he gave up 2 possessions, and those 2 possessions were scores for Billy, and all of a sudden Billy's up 5-3.
Another thing that Billy Stubbs has done, which has really been innovative in air hockey, is that he's almost completely removed the time delay from his game. He is delaying a slight bit, but traditionally in air hockey, we think of the time delay as a way to deceive one's opponent, to freeze a defense, to pause before you actually execute your shot. And Billy has developed a game where he just gets the puck, taps it, and shoots. And he shoots so many different shots that his deception comes from whether he's shooting the shot from the middle or a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right, and whether he's hitting over the mallet bank and under the mallet bank, a cross straight, a cut straight. I mean, it's almost like he doesn't need a time delay.
That's true. So Billy takes game 2. It's been a lot longer for Ehab. Since Ehab's been on the table, Billy had to make a little run through the losers bracket, and so we may be seeing a little bit of not rust, but a little bit of Ehab just trying to get his sea legs back.
Now that's surprising that Ehab went straight into this next game. It didn't take 2 minutes. He just lost 2 games in a row, 7-3, crushing defeats in a tournament like this, and just goes right back into the wind. Again, if you're just joining us on Ustream, welcome. This is the 2012 World Air Hockey Championships in Houston, Texas. We're at SRO. If you're interested in air hockey, please go to airhockeyworld.com. You can find all sorts of tips and information about players in your area. We have forums, and you can get to know people and find out more about where to learn how to play. Ehab getting a little bit of a lead here, is up 2-0.
Yeah, usually you do want to take a little break when you're getting beat the way that Ehab's being beat, but he does have the luxury of using this set as a test bed for what could be the championship set. I'm not sure about the wisdom of that, but um,
I promise you he's trying to win, but
no,
I know what you mean.
I agree, but he does have that luxury.
He's learning.
And if he doesn't take his 2 minutes, then that may surprise Billy. He can catch Billy off guard and maybe steal a game like he is now. He's up 4-0, and I think Billy probably was expecting him to take those 2 minutes. So there could be a little bit of gamesmanship.
Sure. Well, and Billy, it's interesting that Billy didn't force taking the 2 minutes. He tends to take the full 2 minutes no matter what. So maybe he felt like it was a mistake by Ehab and he was going to go with it. Now Billy coming back, making a little bit of a run. A lot of times people will take a timeout when they're down by 3 points. Billy chooses not to. In air hockey, you get 1 timeout per game for 10 seconds, and you can only take that timeout when there's a break in play. Off the table is going to be Billy's puck. And if anyone out there on Ustream has any questions, we are monitoring the chat, so we'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. I don't think that I've seen Billy lose many games this tournament, if he loses this game, by such a wide margin.
Corey's asked if this is the first set or the second set. This is the first set of the finals. It will only go to a second set if Billy Stubbs wins. If Ehab wins this set, he will be the 2012 UNAP World Champion.
Air hockey champion. Another tidbit on air hockey is that players have 7 seconds to execute a shot when they have control of the puck. There, Billy, Ehab is able to win that game in a convincing fashion, makes it 2-1. Again, so in air hockey, you have 7 seconds to execute a shot when you have the puck. If you take longer than that, you'll lose possession. Back in the 70s and early 80s, the rule was 10 seconds, but air hockey, the Players Association chose to move it to 7 seconds. They felt like the game was too slow, and you might kind of laugh at that, looking at this for maybe the first time, thinking this is definitely not slow. But we had players that would take the puck and wait almost all of 10 seconds on their side of the table before shooting a shot, and it tended to be a little boring, I guess, for a viewer. And air hockey is affectionately called the world's fastest table sport. Pucks travel, a fast shot will travel anywhere from 45 to 50 miles per hour. You might not think that's very fast, given that a fastball in baseball might be 95, 98 miles an hour. But in air hockey, this is an 8-foot table. So that means that a player, when a shot is executed at that speed, a player has about 0.7 seconds to react. Studies have shown that a human athlete has an upper limit of maybe about 0.12 seconds in reaction times. And so in air hockey, if you execute a perfect shot, there's nothing that an opponent can do. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to watch a whole host of aspects when somebody has the puck. We're watching where their mallet is, where the puck is drifted, what their body position is like. We're looking at a lot of different types of things to be able to move in a position to block the puck.
All right, so we are at 3-3 in this game. It was another quick start, not quite as quick as the transition between games 2 and 3, and it's a hard-fought match, a hard-fought game so far.
Billy goes for an off-speed right wall over. You get stopped by Ehab, and he then shoots sort of a transition cross straight. In air hockey, we talk about different types of shots. We've got cross straights and cut straights. A cross straight is a shot that is executed from, let's say, for if you're watching Ehab, who is on the near side of the screen, he may take the puck to the left side of the table, and then he's going to shoot a straight to the opposite corner of the goal on the right-hand side. That's a cross straight. A cut straight is more when you slice the puck, and your hand maybe moves to the right as you go across the puck, but the puck goes to the left. And Ehab just is destroying Billy in this game. Could potentially beat him 7-3 and make it all tied up. Well,
yeah, I think what we're seeing is Ehab's sort of in-game rhythm now. He was off the table for about an hour and a half to 2 hours between his victory in the winner's bracket and waiting for his opponent to come out of the loser's bracket. And it's hard to maintain game shape over the course of a couple of hours. And so I think that's what we saw in those first 2 games. Billy was not executing any differently than he was, but Ehab is executing so much better.
Ehab has raised his level for sure.
The first 2 games, it was almost like he was getting his shots back. Now we're seeing a lot of creativity from Ehab, doing a little circle drifting and, moving around the puck a lot better and shooting shots that are more deceptive and more powerful than he was. So we've got 2-2. Billy needs to win 2 out of the next 4 games. Well, he needs to win 2 games before Ehab wins 2 games.
Yes.
Put it that way. If he wants to force a second set.
Neither one of them take a long time between games. Billy going with, it's hard to see on the monitor, but it looked like it was a right wall over that potentially went under, but it was hard to see. Cut shot by Ehab, left wall under by Billy. So when we talk about banks, we talk about over the mallet and under the mallet banks. And under the mallet bank is one in which you're trying to bank the puck and go under behind the mallet before the opponent has a chance to react. That was an under the mallet right wall. And Billy executed it and got it there before Ehab could pull back. A over the mallet bank is one in which you try to get your opponent to overreact and move out of the way for your bank to then go across in front of the mallet into the corner.
Do you think the quick transition between games might be a little bit a manifestation of Billy's overconfidence? He's been training. He's lost a lot of weight. He probably thinks he's in the best shape of all of the top players. Do you think he might be trying to take advantage of Ehab being a little out of shape or recovering still from that surgery?
I'm not sure. I would not put it past Billy to have a plan, because he seems to have a lot of intentionality in everything he does in competition. But to be honest with you, I'm not sure.
Well, he's taking control of this game. He's 7-4. Billy Stubbs now leads 3-2 and is 1 game away from forcing a second set, which would be the defining set of the tournament.
Billy Stubbs now leads the match.
I will predict if Billy wins this set, I think he wins the tournament, because there's more pressure on him right now, I think, than there will be in the final set. I think in the final set there'll be more pressure on Ehab.
Is that how you've come out of the losers bracket? How many times?
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. People ask me all sorts of statistics about tournaments I've played in, and I have the worst memory for that. I think it's because when I'm in the middle of a tournament, all I'm thinking is air hockey. I'm in the zone, and I don't even. People will come up to me later on and say, "Man, that was amazing what you just did there," and what, and I'll be like, "What?
Yeah.
What did I do?
Yeah.
Please tell me. I would love to hear more about it."
Yeah. Sometimes I have to ask people what shot I shot to finish a match.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you don't even know.
Yeah.
I just wondered if you had any personal insight in that. I mean,
Well,
if you had felt more pressure in the first set or the second set of some of your comebacks.
When I've come out of the losers bracket, it has been, I've been basically played so much air hockey that I was in another time and place by the time I got there, and so I don't think I felt a lot of pressure. I guess one of the most famous tournaments where I came out of the losers bracket was 1991. It's the subject of Rise of the Young Wolf, which is on YouTube if you're interested in checking that out. And I played Jesse Dowdy, who was the 11-time world champion in the finals. I came to the losers bracket, and Jesse had a record of 5 tournament wins in a row, and I was at my 4th win, so it was a chance for me to tie him coming through the losers bracket and playing him. You know, fortunately I was able to do it, and it was a great story.
You came out of the losers bracket in 1997 when we played in the finals for the 2nd straight year. Tim's shaking his head. I'm not sure.
I don't really want to look at. I don't really want to think about that.
Okay.
I don't really appreciate you bringing it up.
I wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, just plant that seed. Well, I do remember the year before that, in 1996, when you came out of the losers bracket.
You do.
And I tended to score the last point in the 7th game of the first set at 7-6. That I do remember.
Yeah, you did win a lot of 7-6 games in that set. But you know, to your credit, in '97 you did win the first set of the finals and force the second set. And I you know, thinking back to it, I really do think the pressure was on me more in the second set than in the first set. My friend and sometimes coach Gary Morgan came up to me between sets. He said, "Look, you look like you're having fun out there, but you don't look like you care. I mean, you didn't put it all on the table in that first set." And so I definitely remember the pressure was on, and I stepped up.
Sure, and I remember seeing you in the hallway, sitting down, looking at some papers. Probably really the first time I'd ever seen you do that. And I think that, you know, that I tended to believe years later that had a lot to do with you winning, because you know you were looking at it from an analytical standpoint for once, or, you know, in my perspective for once, as opposed to just going out and just kind of trying to play to have fun. So you know, it was a great win, certainly a wonderful win. And then you also won in 2008?
2007.
Oh, 2007.
Right.
Okay.
I was in the winners bracket there. Out of the losers bracket. Little interruption in our feed there. It's 5-4.
Yeah, I guess enough about us.
Yep.
In our glory days.
Yeah.
Back to these guys. This is a very fast-paced match.
It really is.
Neither one of these guys is time delaying. Billy, once again, just picking one of the arrows from his quiver and letting it fly.
And Ehab's almost doing the same.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not seeing normally with these matches, you can see some attacks in play. You can see how a player is manipulating his opponent's defense, but in this case, it's almost unprecedented. Their shots are just flying in, and it's almost impossible to see what these players are thinking about their opponent. Does indeed force that second set, so we'll see if Tim's prediction comes true. Players have 15 minutes between sets, but if the pace keeps up here, we probably should not see it.